All right, so if you're coming from, say, let's say Power BI or Google Sheets or any of those, maybe Tableau or any of those visualization libraries, if you have had an experience with them, then one thing you would have likely seen is um, a CAD visual. And then you're like, okay, CAD visual just shows one particular information and that's all. Something like, of course, we have multi-row cards. I don't want to talk about that. I mean, just a single row card shows maybe total sales, right? You've seen something like that. That's what the card visual is. We're going to see how to recreate one in Python, right? So a card visual, we're just going to mimic it with the plt.text function, just like I said I was going to do from the previous video. So we're going to do this plt dot, of course, text. And this guy takes in three arguments. It takes in the x and y arguments. As you can see, AI is already suggesting these guys, but I'm going to make them easy for you. So it gives us x and y, and then here we can pass in 0 point. So these values of x and y are the positions of the graph, right? So if you just do a plt.text, let's run this guy. It's going to throw an error, but we're going to see something, okay? Let me try to do dot show, plt dot show like this. Let me see if something comes up. I want to show you something. All right, so let's just pass in some text. Let's pass in our x, right? So it requires x, y, and s required, but then you can add other arguments. So our values of x, right, and y are between 0 and 1, right? So if you pass in, let's try to pass in 0, and let's get the value of y to be equal to 0. Let's get s, which is our text now, something like hello. S is like our text. This x and y are like the positions, a comma, like the positions of the text, right? On the x, on the Cartesian plane, you know what x and y mean. Now you can see the values are from 0 to 1. That was what I wanted to show you, right? So the middle of 0 here to 1 is going to be what? 0.5. Likewise, the middle of, right, from 0 to 1 here is going to be 0.5. So we're going to trick this and then plot it as 0.5. Remember, whatever it is that we're doing is manipulation, right? We're just trying to recreate that. This is beautiful. So I don't need this axis, right? I don't know if you need them. You can leave them, but I don't need them. Because I'm going to do plt.axis and passing off. Let's see what this gives us. You can see now in plain text, right? Hello, where the axes are off, right? And of course, then I will just go ahead and this one for this guy now we can decide to pass in some other things like horizontal alignment and vertical alignment, right? We call them HA and VA. Horizontal alignment equals to center, HA pass it equal to center, right? And we can pass in the vertical alignment. Let me just do it in the same line. Also equal to center. Okay, center small c. And let's run this. And this return this guy to the middle. Every other thing here. So horizontal is to the middle, vertical is to the middle, right? And this is very, very important in case if you decide to increase the font size so that it will not just be increasing to the right like that. So we can also add in other things like font size. As you can see, let me just leave this guy. So you can see I added font size, which I made it 60. Color, I made it red, and then weight here, very, very important that you add. I mean, I'm just teaching you how to beautify this guy. Let's just add these guys first before we come back to add other things like the weight. Now you can see, right, how big this is. And we can add the weight to make it bold, right? You can even go ahead to change the font type, right? I'm just going to stick with this. This looks cool for me, right? Now, what if I don't want this static text like this? What if I want to see the number of people who actually feel the form, right? So I'll just pass in len here. Len of df will actually give me the number of people that fill the form. So I'll just do this. Now you can see total number of people that fill this form is what len of df. So if anybody fills this form, if you rerun the script, it will dynamically change this guy now to 67 instead of you passing the text as 67 66 directly, right? So we have this now. I can just add plt.title, and then this will be what number of respondents. And most of these other arguments here, I mean, apart from X and Y, I mean, the HA, the font size, and everything applies also to this guy, to the title. right? It applies to the title, maybe even the position. So we're just going to, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to the title. If you want to change the color, of course, I'm teaching you another thing now. You can change the color. You can just do font size to reduce the size if the size is too big for you. And just pass in. Let's see 9. Let's see what 9 looks like. Of course. So let me pass in 11 instead. Then of course color. I'll pass in green. Then font weight. I'll just leave it as not bold, so that I don't want it to distract the main guy we're trying to show here. Right. Very good. Oh, you can make it blue any color you like. I don't know if this is great. Anyway, I'm going to leave it like that. And one last thing I want us to do is to reduce the size of this guy. Right. So let's use our plt.figo. Let's make it small. plt.figo dot sorry, pass our fixed size. Let's pass in 4 by 2, right? So that it looks smaller. Great. So this is what I was trying for us to recreate, right? So you have recreated a card visual. And follow me on the next tutorial. I'm going to show you how you can stack in so many card visuals here. Let's say 3 or 4, and any number you want, right? I'll show you that. And as well as how you can plot several visuals side by side or along a grid. See you in the next class.